Hey guys, and welcome back to Ghost Trick. Well, we managed to save Lynn again, so, T-minus 30 minutes or so until she dies again. Well,
She's just not having a good night, guys, okay? You know, you just have one of those days, everything could possibly go wrong, you die a few times, but you know, you get through the day, and tomorrow's a fresh start.
at least it's painting Lynn as, optimistic, as opposed to just extremely unlucky. Because I know if I died about 5 times throughout the course of a single night, I'd start asking questions. God, where are you? You're obviously not up there.
Well, to be fair, if you get killed at least 5 times in a single night, then maybe death is trying to tell you something.
Although, I think Lynn's done a runner. She's scarpered, she's vamoosed, and even though the police know her inside and out, they can't do anything to stop the escaping Lynn. Oh my god, these guys, I forgot this! Every time I think I've memorized these fucking statements, I forget them. Blue Dude and Green Dude here have some of the best dialogue in the game, and they don't even have, like, properly rendered eyes.
No, they have Brock eyes.
Mexi, do you follow the Pokemon anime?
Not too much. I think the last season that I watched completely was the Sinnoh League.
Okay, well, I was actually referring to the Sun and Moon anime, where Brock and Misty came back, and, oh my god, their fight scenes with Ash are pretty hype.
Oh man, they even do their classic sprite poses, and they get Mega Evos, and it's so nice and good, and I love the style of Sun and Moon. I just haven't bothered to watch it, because I really don't want to watch Unova. I really don't. It's awful and terrible, and I'm probably just going to skip it to go to X and Y.
Oh, well, X and Y was probably the most well-received next to the Sun and Moon anime. I don't know, I'll probably get back into watching the anime when Ultra Sun and Moon come out, but I'm getting away from the conversation. Nah, what is that, a service lift or something? It seems a bit small. Looks more like a dumbwaiter.
Basically, dumbwaiter, trash chute, little elevator, all sort of the same thing.
It's where I put your waifu.
Oh, in the trash! Not sure, like, was the scriptwriter okay when he, like, wrote this dialogue?
Well, considering some of the things that are going to occur later in the game, I have a very strong feeling that the writers have a little interesting insight into divorce.
Yeah, pretty much. Alright, so the Birdman, I guess the super, he went downstairs, locked the door, and, well, Lynn didn't get out through the front door, so, you know, you take away the impossible, what remains must be the truth, ergo, she must be downstairs with the super.
Pretty much, but then she might not be downstairs with the super. She might just be downstairs without the super.
Foolish Tom! These statements mean nothing without evidence in a court of... Oh wait, not a court.
No.
Disregard. Scratch that from the record. Forget that last thing I said.
Well, no, but you seem to forget that we do have Ace Attorney investigations, which doesn't take place in a court, and yet the things that occur there are sort of seemingly legally binding. I don't really know. I've not really looked into Ace Attorney investigations yet at all.
He just shouts objection to random civilians. Like, if you think of the game outside the context, it's hilarious.
I don't know if you caught that back there, but he's like, if I read Lynn's diary, maybe I'll get to know her better. Maybe then I can swoop in. Well, I'm probably embellishing it a little bit, but don't do that. That's fuckboy behavior. Trademark.
Dear diary, today the weirdest thing happened. I died.
I died twice. It was pretty metal, honestly. But yeah, Lynn's handbook, or notebook, I should say. I don't know the difference, whatever. Doesn't matter. That's some serious evidence right there.
Will it be added to our file, or what?
There we go. That's the one we want. I don't have any eyes, but I can see the truth all too easily.
No, he's just being a super anime villain all the time. So his glasses just constantly have glare, just a concentrated evil.
Well, either that, or he's just being incredibly smart all the time by doing that classic thing of just putting his glasses to and the glare just kind of going ding. Basically like that writer's wine glass going ding every time she cheers, it?
Yeah, we're out of that dungeon now. That dungeon of lewdness.
Of domestic strife.
I'm sure we'll be back there eventually, but either way, I'm very happy right now because I love this character. He is awesome.
He's pretty good, like his mate, who we'll meet soon, is pretty good. There's a lot of good double acts in the game. You gotta have a fool and you gotta have a straight man. Richie, in our dynamic, you and me, sorry Mexi, this is just between us two, but who's the fool and who's the straight man?
Oh gods. I don't really know. I mean, I suppose in terms of... this is really difficult. I mean, I'd say sort of I probably would fit into the full one, if only because I'm the one who's much more excitable.
Let me stop you there. Because you took so long to assess the situation, that makes you the straight man. You're the one that jokes bounce off because you didn't immediately go for a quip or a quirky reaction.
This is true.
There you go. That's how you find out whether you're the fool or a straight man in the duo. I can do both because I have to work with multiple people.
Well, group, I think we've all made a lot of progress today on how we feel about each other, so I'm just going to schedule us next week. Be sure to think about what we talked about.
Mexi is actually both. He's a full man, but we love him all the same. I'm just gonna go ahead and take this book. Definitely not leaving it here with you. Gotta wash my hands now. Creepy.
Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, he's basically just going for a bit of light reading.
Of a girl's journal.
Exactly, because obviously he's... Clearly, maybe he's not got a good thing going on with his wife, because they can't talk, and so he's just going to read somebody else's journal whilst he's at it.
These two. Adore them.
These two are amazing.
These are good boys. They're very, very good boys.
Well, I don't think you need to know Lynn to figure out something's going on with her right now. She carries the air of sort of karmic retribution with her wherever she goes.
And also, I'm loving the fact that he's called Bailey.
What's the other one named?
As in the old Bailey. Yeah, well, who is the other guy? Who is the other guy?
I don't know, I think you just get a name at some point. I feel like it's something like Steve.
Something like Steve. How descriptive. Good for you.
So Lynn's been calling every night as of late. Maybe she's trying to get through to someone?
I suspect that's probably the case, yes.
Alright, trick time. Take note of the memos that Bailey is placing. We will need to manipulate them. Let's just call him Steve for now.
Plus, we also need to know when the company barbecue is and who is bringing drinks to that.
Oh, very much so. Don't expect me to carry any. Oh, I'm legless from the start. Do you get it? Because I don't have legs. I'm a ghost.
Oh, that's okay. You sure you're the fool?
Definitely. I'm no one. No one.
So, Tom, what you're saying is that you're smut?
What?
You're a nobody.
Oh, yes.
Never
I get
mind.
It. Yeah. What the fuck is my fucking? I don't know. I just carry on with the fucking playthrough.
Oh dear, I think Ghost Trick's sending us slightly doolally.
Yeah, we're all a little bit manic today. Maybe because of My Hero Academia. Mexi just has... Oh, he's just got his natural youthful charms going on, and Richie's... I don't know what the fuck's up with Richie. But I throw him in the trash like this memo.
the whole dirty dancing pose he does when he spins in his chair.
Got it memorized.
Don't you mean Flashdance?
I got that reference.
Because that's not... Dirty Dancing's the tabletop lift, Flashdance is on the chair.
Oh shit! I just got owned so hard.
Alright, there's more memo stuff to do later, but right now we need to, you know, spy on this here phone call. So, oh! Lynn was downstairs the whole time, not with the superintendent, as Richie said.
Well, of course, because otherwise the superintendent would have gone, "Oi, she's down here."
Yeah, well, the pigeon probably would have ratted his out.
Always the bird. You see, this is why you put birds on the stand and interrogate them, because they will always break.
I love how they kept that in the live-action Phoenix Wright movie. I still gotta watch that. Maybe I'll put it up for a Patreon poll and, like, us three can do a commentary on it.
I'm totally down with that, because it means I get to listen to more of 2012 by Porno Graffiti, because that's an awesome song.
Nice.
I'm one of those people who doesn't really despise it. I mean, I know it's not perfect, but it's fun to watch.
Oh, of course it's not perfect, but, I mean, obviously, slightly going off topic, but you're trying to make the Phoenix Wright games take place in real life. It's never going to be an easy thing to achieve.
Yeah, for sure. It's intrinsically anime. Okay, we have the, I would say the downstairs phone, like, line for the office in the junkyard, so, that's our ticket in there.
That's really weird that they would have a different phone number just for that phone.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I mean, unless it's a public phone that's located next to the office, I'd get that, but I don't know, there's a lot of phone numbers, and they're just throwing them at us at this point. It was kind of nice when we were just getting one after another, but throw all these phone numbers, and some that you're not even supposed to go through yet, it's a little overwhelming.
Although, to be fair, you can have different phone numbers in the same building, because that's basically what it's like where I work.
Yeah, different lines.
It's like the last few numbers change depending on the phone, so you can get through to different people. So it's probably that type of system.
The more you know. Okay, I think we've done all we can do at this point in time in this location, so let's head back to the junkyard.
Back to the trash where we belong. I mean, our body still is technically in the dumpster, so we, like, throughout this entire game, we're just trash.
They haven't moved it to the morgue or anything, although I think that happens later. Oh my god, she's fucking dead again!
Of course she's dead again, it's Lynn!
How? The door upstairs was locked.
It's like she's a toddler or something. She just has a suicidal inclination. No, don't put that fork in the light socket. No!
Lynn, no! Lynn, yes!
I think she's been watching a little bit too much Final Destination, and death is just basically out to get her at this point.
Man, I think that the death that affected me the most in Final Destination was actually, I won't say a kid, but he's like a teenager, and it's the plate of glass that falls on him.
That's just ridiculous.
Oh, thank God. I thought I was the only one who'd seen the Final Destination movies. I mean, most people just consider them as jokes, so they never even actually watch them, but I like them for being really gross, crude movies. Like, the car crash at the start of the second one is really good.
Oh, is that the one with the log that comes through the window?
Fuck yes, there's a shit ton of logs going through windows.
I say this as if I've actually seen the Final Destination movies. I haven't. I've just seen the deaths, because those are clearly the most important bits of those films.
Something for a Halloween movie marathon next year?
I'd be down with that.
Also, for anime writers, when you guys keep making locked room mysteries, they stop really being impressive when every single fucking murder is a locked room mystery.
Yeah.
I'm just noticing that it's being used a lot lately.
Can you name some games with such a kind of thing, Mexi?
Danganronpa does it, Ace Attorney does it, I think Hotel Dusk does it, Pretty much every mystery-solving visual novel will do a locked room mystery at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we passed the iconic line back there. Haha, I died again. Love it. Well, it's just business as usual at this point, so we're gonna have to figure out how she managed to fucking die in a room with nobody.
I mean, was there a puddle of water?
I suppose she could have slipped on that and hit the soft part of her head like the toddler she is.
Well, I mean, there is one... I can't remember if it's a riddle or a puzzle or whatever, but there's a locked room murder puzzle, basically, that does involve puddles, because it takes place in a spa and, like, a steam room. I think I remember trying to get you and Helldragon to solve it, Tom, but really can't remember.
Alright, so here's the thing I want to bring up real quick. That whole screen transition, that shit was big on the DS, because every time I see that, all I think about is 999's Seek a Way Out. And that was something that a lot of puzzle games on the DS did too, is that you had like these iconic like screen start animations before you got to the actual puzzles.
DS was really good for puzzle games and whatnot. I hasten to say they underwent a bit of a renaissance, but if you were a handheld puzzle fan, I know, for example, Helldragon fucking loved, like, I think it was Planet Puzzle League, I got him for his birthday, like, almost 10 or so years ago at this point, then, yeah, you'd be in good hands with the DS. And I guess the 3DS, but I haven't played many puzzle games on the 3DS, sadly.
No, I think the thing that happened was that with the DS, obviously because it was so tremendously popular, everyone jumped in on it, and because obviously it was new, people, like developers that wanted to do puzzle games, like really went the extra mile in trying to create interesting puzzles with the dual screen mechanic. When the 3DS came out, that dual screen mechanic kind of sort of stopped as being a bit of a thing.
Yeah. Well, there's another thing too, is that the entire genre kind of did a cross-platform shift too. So, you know, these puzzle games are all inspired by the old LucasArts puzzles that were inspired by, you know, the point-and-click adventures. It went through this sort of era where, you know, you were getting more visual novel-y type deals, but it seemed like after this, the next step puzzle games was what most people crudely refer to as the walking simulator games. So I think it's just more that puzzle games did another change, and that involved a lot of them going to PCs and to consoles for the next generation of puzzle games.
So we have a Rube Goldberg machine on our hands. Richie, can you tell us exactly what one of those is, please?
Yeah, give me a second.
I know all about them. I used to be obsessed about Rube Goldberg machines when I was a kid. I used to watch that TV show Zoom because they made Rube Goldberg inventions, and then when, what was it, OK Go did a music video with a Rube Goldberg invention in a one take. It was great. I love these things.
So basically, Rube Goldberg machine is a deliberately complex contraption in which a series of devices that perform simple tasks are linked together to produce a domino effect in which activating one device triggers the next device in the sequence, generally to do something quite simple. And the expression is named after an American cartoonist and inventor of such contraptions, Rube Goldberg.
Actually, now that I think about it, isn't the board game Mousetrap a fucking Rube Goldberg machine?
Sort of is, yeah.
Well, on a much less lethal, well, unless you're playing for keeps, I suppose, a much less lethal version of what we have to save Lynn from here. So yeah, she was shot. It wasn't by a human, but a human definitely set this up. So we shall have to wait and see. And this is a very actually particular puzzle we have to save Lynn from, so don't worry if you don't get it the first time.
Because basically, you've got to do a lot of stuff in a very quick amount of time, and very short amount of time is more accurate there. And like, in terms of pulling off the final maneuver to save her life, you're going to be down to the last few seconds before you're actually able to achieve that.
Alright, we got a bomber lift upstairs, because we need to save this dude from being singed by the steam. That will create a checkpoint.
It will do, but I mean, is it really that important? I mean, obviously you don't want to get singed by anything, but like, yeah, you can just stay up there.
What did I say about the ghoul with the heart of gold? We have to save as many people as we can. Even if he gets a scorched bum, that can be prevented.
So wait, we can save some people from scorch marks, but dropping full crates on others, A-okay.
Yeah.
Basically, yes.
Okay, as long as we have the rules set.
I'm not a complex person when it comes to morals, mate. Bad thing bad, good thing good, okay?
Plus, you never know. This guy could be making tea, and we all know what team you side on there.
I actually kind of need a cup of tea right now. I'm feeling like the manic energy is starting to dissipate somewhat.
Well, to further help that manic energy dissipate, do you want to have a look at some real-world examples of locked room mysteries?
Well, we'll get to that, but first let's save Lynn, because it's very important that we discuss how this actually goes about, because we're down to the wire now.
That's true, yeah.
Alright, she comes in the room, she turns on the light, and that activates the machine. Here we go. It's probably one of the only times you will hear this music, at least in this part of the game. Right, so we need to go here, open this shit up, we're doing it for later, walk back up here, do this before the ball rolls off the table or out of your reach. And now, you must wait for the tennis ball to roll onto the floor. Don't panic, hold your nerve. Now, trick that, bowling ball goes down, hits the shovel, over here, and it turns the angel around.
Oh, shit.
That's how the machine was supposed to work. So, I think we're dealing with a fucking scammer of sorts. He tricked the murder machine.
Well, it might be a bit more complex than that.
I'm impressed. That was so cool to watch.
Yeah, he turned it into a murder machine. Yeah, I got my words a bit mixed up there, but you get what old Tom's saying.
Exactly.
See, I like that. Now we've already added some more tension to this kooky, crazy ghost night. Now we find out that there's someone else tricking against us. That trickster.
Well, maybe getting a bit ahead of yourself there, but Lynn's safe. That's all that matters right now. So while they discuss the murder room, Rishi, you were talking about locked room mysteries.
Yes, so there's some real-world examples of locked room mysteries. So one of them is George Colvocorus's captain of the USS Saratoga during the American Civil War. According to his biography, he was mysteriously murdered in Bridgeport, Connecticut on June the 3rd, 1872, while on his way to New York. Apparently that is an example of a locked room mystery. According to his great-great-granddaughter, however, his insurers later alleged that his death was a suicide, as the bullet wound he suffered was conveyed at close range through his heart without the bullets penetrating of his outer garment, so it's debatable. But the other two that are on here are actual locked room murders. According to a report in the New York Times, March 10th and 11th, 1929, Isidore Fink of 4 East 132nd Street, New York City, was in his Fifth Avenue laundry on the night of March the 9th, 1929, with the windows closed and door of the room bolted. A neighbour heard screams and the sound of blows, but no shots, and called the police, who were unable to get in. A young boy was lifted through the transom and was able to unbolt the door. On the floor lay Fink, with 2 bullet wounds in his chest and 1 in his left wrist. He was dead.
Huh.
There was money in his pockets, and the cash register had not been touched. No weapon was found. There was a theory that the murderer had crawled through the transom, but to do so, he or she would have had to be no bigger than a small child, and would have had to leave exactly the same way as the door was bolted. Another theory had the murderer firing through the transom, but Fink's wrist was powder burned, indicating that he had not been fired at from a distance. More than 2 years later, Police Commissioner Mulrooney, in a radio talk, called this murder in a closed room an insoluble mystery. And I think to this day that murder was never solved.
Speaking of, Lynn is investigating a murder case right now, so if you put that together with her phoning the police station every night, you may be able to start, the culprit. behind bars right now. You may be able to start piece together the mystery of why Lynn is doing what she's doing, because the person is innocent. Or so she thinks.
Exactly. And since she's continuing, the other one is on May the 16th, 1937, Letitia Theroux was found stabbed to death in an otherwise empty first-class compartment of the Paris metro. The subway train had left the terminus, Port de Charenton, at 6:27 p.m. and had arrived at the next station, Port de Ré, at 6:28 p.m. Witnesses did not see anyone else enter or leave the compartment where Mademoiselle Theroux's body was found. The murderer had 1 minute and 20 seconds at his or her disposal. Neither the murderer nor the method of his or her escape was ever discovered.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah. Oh, I love this time of year. I'm not the greatest one for, like, horror and whatnot, but I've always liked, like, the paranormal or just slightly unsettling side of horror. It's why, you know, stupid old me will go into NeoGAF fucking ghost threads when I'm settling down for bed, and then wonder why my anxiety is through the fucking roof.
See, I always tell people that if I could do something with my life where I didn't have to worry about, like, cash or whatever, like, I could just go and do it, I would travel the world and, like, investigate paranormal shit, like, hear stories and stuff, and, like, document it. Not to be like those hack ghost story hunters, but just to, like, actually learn what stories and what horror things are out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, there's loads of really awesome stories out there. And, I mean, because obviously I used to work at a theatre, and there are a couple of ghosts there that people had seen over the years. There was a man in a frock coat who people had seen, and, like, more than a few people had seen him, not mentioned it to anybody else, until they sort of did bring it up, and they're just like, wait a minute, you've seen him too? Yeah, because basically, so there's one instance where somebody was walking down the stairs and saw this man in a frock coat and thought that it was somebody else because he worked there and he had a long black coat. But he'd already left the building, and she got very confused.
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then there was another time where someone was working in the offices. She was the only one there, and yeah, this man in the frock coat walked across the corridor, and she was just like, wait, who else is here? There was nobody there. So he was a particularly famous one amongst staff. There's also the wronged chambermaid, who was quite famous.
That sounds pretty metal.
She'd fallen in love with an actor, and he vanished. Basically he left, and then she found out that she was pregnant. And because obviously it was the 1800s, and single mothers in that day and age, it's not okay. So she went up to one of the top rooms in the county hotel, and she shot herself. Well, she didn't shoot herself, she killed herself. And so she's said to still haunt the corridors where that hotel once stood.
I always thought that fucking thing about having to be bound to the place that, like, you killed yourself was a bit of bullshit. Because you're already suffering, but now you gotta, like, suffer in purgatory as well. Yeah, but
it starts to make less sense if you realize if they're tied to the exact location of their death in space.
Yeah.
Like, the planet Earth is constantly moving, so you would be tied to that place in space.
Yeah.
So you would only be in the right place at the right time, like, once a year.
Like, what would happen if they tore down the house you were haunting? You'd just be floating in air trying to scare people. Ooh.
Oh, that just brings up poltergeist, then you just haunt the next thing that's built on the plot of land.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Had stories of that happening as well, because my cousin their house was built on the site of an old nunnery, and he used to see nuns in his bedroom at night.
Spooky nuns! I'm sorry, but the idea of ghost nuns.
I know, it's ridiculous, but you see, these things have been seen. I mean, I think I used to see an old woman across the road who just didn't exist.
Same, fam, same.
My mind's kind of been blown by all this ghost talk in the ghost trick playthrough. Lynn's got a passage out of it. She can't go through the door, but she can go through the sewers. And while we won't well, we can't help each other out right now. We can agree to cooperate. So, Lynn, you can make use of the ghost tricks, and Sissel, you can make use of the fact that Lynn is alive. I think that's a pretty even trade.
I would agree, yes.
So Lynn is essentially a superhero now. Like, Cecil is her power.
Yeah? Sissel is her stand.
Yes!
I knew that would get a happy reaction out of you, Tom.
That wasn't a happy reaction. Alright, so we gotta get the information from the prisoner's blackboard. I would imagine she kind of wants to see what's happening, like either the following day or like the day after, because I think there might be a deadline on the line here. So yeah, our next port of call is the prison to check out prisoner D99. Play that funky music. Oh, wait for it. It's coming. Set us apart. I make no promises, Sissel. Instantly dies when she's off screen. Oh, Lampy the Lamp. May you ever shine on with the light of justice in this, the darkest of timelines.
The timeline that got abandoned.
Anyway, so yeah, Lynn holds the key to solving the mystery of me, or the mystery of Sissel, if you will. And there's plenty more shenanigans to come in Ghost Trick, but this part's done now, so I'm just basically wrapping things up. Come back next time for the further installment of Ghost Trick. Bye for now.